So, yes, it seems I'm live. Let me see. Okay, open it up. I don't know if that's somebody online. I'm super punctual. Yes. Yes. So, good morning. Good morning. Let me have a little bit. Okay, no, I want to stay on this page. Yes. Here is the comment. So, here's the link to the blog post. Yes. Let's wait a couple of more minutes. Oh, here it went. Yes, let's wait a couple of more minutes just to be sure that people can connect. It's Saturday morning. Yes, I woke up with my hair a bit like that. So that's why you see I feel like a bit Minnie Mouse, to be honest. But yeah, so that's it. Saturday mornings are always quite an experience, not to mention Sunday morning, right? But Sunday morning at this time, I tend to be in bed. Yes. But hey, here we are with English classes. Some people wrote me that they weren't sure to make it, hairdressers opened, or some other people were going to, what was that they say? Yes, to change the tires. In Trento, most of the people still have the winter tires that we are supposed to change in mid-April, but since mid-April we were in lockdown. Nobody changed them, so now everything is starting again. So yes, a person from our last class was asking a small class on traveling. Remember last time we did a class on business English, the time before we did a class on grammar, present perfect and present perfect continuous. Then this time, so we were talking a little bit about traveling and do some vocabulary and some phrasal verbs connected to traveling, which I think it's a really nice topic, especially because we are in June, and yes, I don't know, will you have summer holiday? I hope to get some summer holiday, and I hope to be able to go to the seaside. Yes, I live in Trento. Seaside is quite no seaside around here. But yeah, so let's hope they will open the regions, and let's hope we will be able to travel a little bit, at least inside our beautiful country. Yes. So let's start. Likewise, last time I posted an article on my blog. I already did it. That's the difference from last time. I did it in advance. So I put it in the comments. Sorry, I see the comments on this side of the screen. I put it on the top of the comments. You find the article, and you find written down all the expressions and words we will be doing together today. So yes, if you want to write down some notes, feel free to do that. If you, oh, Julia's here. Hey, you managed to change the tires. Good. Yes, if you go on the blog, you find all the article. You find, like I did last time, a downloadable PDF, so that you can just print out today's lesson. You can watch it and follow me at the same time, or whatever works best for you. It's good for me. So, yes, when I started thinking about this class, I realized I also started thinking, when I teach, I always have an eye on what I think it's interesting for you to know, and I always keep an eye on mistakes that a lot of Italian mother tongue do when it comes to speaking about this topic. So I realized the first, when we speak about traveling in general, a lot of time I hear there is some confusion between three words, especially between the word travel, trip, and journey. Travel, trip, and journey. Yes. For Italians, it's a bit different because we just have il viaggio, viaggiare, and it doesn't really make a big difference. Sometimes we use gita, escursione, yes, but so to begin with, I'd like to tell a little bit about these three words. So travel, number one, travel. Travel is a verb. Most of the time you will hear it as a verb, like I like traveling, traveling is my favorite hobby, or again, I don't know, when I go to visit my parents, I travel by car, for example. Yes, always remember when you're using some means of transport, you always travel by car, by bike, by train, by flight. The preposition is by. Yes. When you use it sometimes, the verb to travel, sometimes you use travel as a noun, but when you use it, it's in very general terms. For example, you can speak about air travel, il trasporto aereo. It's very general. It's not a specific travel. It's not an experience you are having. It's just to speak about general items. Also, I don't know, space travel or time travel. Yes, I think I wrote time travel in the blog post. Yes, it's in very general terms. Therefore, you cannot say, I don't know, I travel to Rome. No, it's uncountable because it's general. You cannot count it. At the same time, you cannot say something like, I don't know, how was your travel to Italy? That's also wrong, okay? Because you're going into a specific experience you might have had, while travel is a very broad and general. Sometimes that was a doubt I had actually, because sometimes I see traveling with the in form of the verb, or if you say a traveler, un viaggiatore, I see it written with two L, with one L, and I also didn't know why sometimes you write with two L's, with one L. Well, basically it all comes down to British and American English. In British English, you use it with two L's. Okay, while in American English they have a different spelling also for other things, but they use traveling and travelers with one L. Yes. So that's travel. Let's move on to trip. A trip can be a business trip, can be a pleasure trip, it can be a one-day trip. One-day trip would be the equivalent of our gita, which we never know how to, or escursione, which we never know how to translate into English. One-day trip. A trip, it involves traveling from A to B, everything you do on the spot and going back. So it's the whole experience. It's not just the traveling, or it's not just the staying in the place. It's the complete experience. Okay, and it's a noun. Be careful because in English the verb to trip exists. It does exist, but it means something different. It means inciampare. Yes, when you walk and you almost fall down, that's to trip. But the noun trip is the same as, I would say it in Italian as il viaggio, the way we think about viaggio in general. Then we have journey. A journey is, yes, it's also viaggio in Italian, but you speak about a journey in English when you want to refer to the fact that you're moving from A to B. It's only this part of the journey, and normally it involves many hours or many kilometers. So it's a long a journey is a longer experience that you're having, okay? And it's only from A to B. It does not include everything that happens to you on the spot. It just speaks about yes, the road, how long it takes you to get somewhere, and a lot of time it involves some kind of adventure as well, you know. For example, you could speak about a journey through the Sahara Desert, for example. You can say, I don't know, for example, yes, this is a good example I wrote in the blog post. When you ask somebody, come è andato il viaggio, you can say, how was your trip? When you want to ask about the whole experience, how was your trip? Come è andato il tuo viaggio? Come è andata la tua vacanza, if you prefer. But when you ask, how was your journey? You are thinking that there was a long flight involved, for example. So how was your journey? It means how was your flight, basically, back and forth, okay? Yeah, so this is the difference between travel, trip, and journey. Of course, if you have question, you can type your question now or whenever you see this video, okay? Just feel free to type it, and if you have question, just let me know and I will answer. Then, provided that you decided we finally have holidays and we can iniziare le nostre vacanze, okay? A lot of Italian people say to start. We started from Trento. No, no. We left from Trento, no? Siamo partiti da Trento. Normally, per partire, in English, you have 3 expressions. Again, I don't know, it's kind of the festival of number 3 today, but yes, 3 expressions. You can use to leave, which is a very simple verb. It's very nice. Of course, it's irregular. So to leave, left, okay? But it's nice and easy. It's really nice and easy. The other 2 ways of expressing the idea of partire are to set off and to set out. For example, and yes, it's can give you a bit of a headache, but to set off is more connected to trip, so to the whole experience, while to set out is more connected to journey, okay, to the adventure, to the length of your traveling. So, for example, you can say something like, yeah, so to go on holiday, we set off at 7 o'clock in the morning. Siamo partiti alle 7 di mattina per andare in vacanza. Because you're speaking about the whole experience again. Yes. Set out, you're speaking just about your journey. So you would say again, we set out at 7 o'clock in the morning for our journey. And that means that 7 o'clock in the morning, you started your journey, not necessarily your trip. Okay, you're referring yourself to a very specific part. A nice thing, a really nice thing about set out is that you can also set out to achieve a goal, to meet a goal. So, for example, if you, I don't know, if you wanted to learn, I don't know, let's say English, yes, or an English class, whatever. You know, forget other examples, yes. You set out to learn English in 1 year, and therefore you're waking up every morning at 6 a.m. and spend the first hour of the day memorizing vocabulary. I don't know. You set out, you gave yourself that goal, and you're working towards that goal or objective. That is nice because you can use it in very different context, and it's yes, it's a metaphorical journey if you want to, you know. You set out to become president of the United States of America, whatever. It's a journey in a way, isn't it? So it's a nice phrasal verb that you can use in different ways. Then I really wanted to share a nice phrasal verb which is connected with the idea of leaving. Yes, do you know, when we go, I don't know, I had a boyfriend, for example, he was from Turin, and in those years, I think I was like paying more salaries of Trenitalia workers, because we're always on the train. In our 20s, there was no Flixbus, no anything. We could only travel by train. And I was traveling from Trieste, where I was studying, to Turin, crossing Italy, to visit him. And then when we left, it was a tragedy, like crying every single time I had to go back to Trieste. And yes, but you know, when you go to the train station or to the airport to say goodbye to somebody that you love or that you care about, I'm sure everybody has had this experience before, like I had. Yes, English people, they have a specific phrasal verb only to express this idea of going to say goodbye to somebody at a station, train station, or whatever, airport. I think this is amazing of English. And of course, it's a phrasal verb, and it is to see off. Okay, see off. So you see the person off. You see the person going away, basically, but they express everything with the verb to see and the preposition off. Now, be careful about the construction, okay, because normally you see somebody off. For example, yes, every time I left Turin to go back to Trieste, my boyfriend saw me off, yes. Of course, he also dropped me off, meaning that he drove me to the train station, but after driving me to the train station, he saw me off. He said goodbye and he saw me leaving. Yes, so to see somebody off. Then, last part of our class, let me check because I see there is some update here. Okay. Yes, last but not least, the last section for today's lesson, I decided to dedicate it to the idea of decollare, atterrare, arrivare. Yes, because of course we spoke about leaving, but after you leave, you also need to come back, right? So, yeah, so let's start with decollare. Yes, you know, flights. Normally, well, yes, people, workers on flights, it's quite difficult to understand their English, isn't it? I don't know for you, but my experience, I'm always quite interested because they have every kind of possible accent and they speak very fast. They're super fast because it's something they keep repeating every single time. So it's like, and you're like, whatever. So, but yeah, so anyways, you might have understood that they speak about takeoff and landing. Crew, be ready for takeoff and landing. Yes. Takeoff, of course, is decollare. Probably you know it. It's not a complicated verb, but to take off. Again, it's a phrasal verb. So you can say the flight took off at 10:30. I don't know. Yes. But the interesting thing here is that you can use to take off also when it comes to people. So, for example, God, my hair is really not working today. So, for example, if you are in a hurry, okay, or yes, you meet somebody on the street, your friend, you start talking, and then all of a sudden your friend is like, oh my God, I'm late, I had an appointment and I need to be there in 10 minutes and I need 15 minutes to get there, I really need to go. And she just takes off. To take off with people means to leave, being in a rush and just leaving to go wherever they need to go. So, you know, I think it's nice, not only flights or airplanes take off, also people can take off if they're really in a rush. Then, of course, after taking off flights, no, I don't mean to crash, they actually land, okay? Land as a noun è la terra, okay? And it's like in Italian, terra, atterrare, land, to land. Okay, as I said before, flight attendants, they tend to say take off and landing. Landing is when you go down and the flight is on ground again. Another way, another nice phrasal verb to speak about landing is to touch down. Touch down. Toccare giù, toccare terra. Yes, so flights also touch down, which is quite nice. Of course, I heard the expression touch down altogether as a noun also in sport. Thinking football games, American football, not soccer, American football. Yes, they touch down. This is quite nice. Then we have our last phrasal verb for today. There is some. Julia writing, it was a long journey to go to Trieste by train. Yes, it was 7 bloody hours. Yes, because you need at least, like, I still remember, like an hour and 50 minutes from Turin to Milan, and then I don't remember how long from Milan to Venice, and then from Venice to Trieste it's again an hour and 50 minutes. Because of course as a student I didn't have much money, so I only took regional trains, and you know, regional trains in Italy, they are very cheap, but they stop in every small village on the road. So yes, it was long, it was really long, but I loved it. It was really nice travel. You really saw like all northern Italy. It was lovely. Yes, sorry, sometimes the comments, they kind of drop below. I will try to keep an eye on it a bit better. Yes, I was last but not least on phrasal verb, to get in. Of course, well, yes, the verb to get. I love the verb to get, because you can use it like everywhere, literally. Like if you don't know a verb and you want to say something, you can literally wait, I saw another comment. Yes, I know, 7 hours. Yes, long, very long. Yes, the verb to get, statistically they use it so often that when I was learning English at a certain point, I must admit, when I was in the US back in the 4th year of high school, when I didn't know a verb or something, I would just give it a try and say get, because since they use it for a number of different meanings, I was like, okay, let's try to get and see if people understand me. It was a game I played, and most of the time they understood me, by the way, so you know, give it a try anyways. But yes, we should have a lesson on get. That would be really interesting. Anyways, the verb get can have a variety of different meanings alone. Then think when you added a preposition with it, you know, it can really change everything. So for example, you can get on a bus, quando ci sali. You get off the bus, quando scendi. You get in a room, quando entri. You get out the room, quando esci, you know. Of course, you get up in the morning, per alzarsi. So, you know, get can have really lots of different meanings. But what I want to highlight today, get in, I'm passionate about the verb to get, you know, this kind of being a language nerd leads you to these kind of things. But to get in, normally we use it for people entering a space. You can get in the hospital, or you can enter the hospital. You can get in the car or into the car. Yes. But to get in can actually be used also with flights and trains, meaning that they are arriving. Okay, so for example, you can say, I don't know, the train is expected to get in at 11. Okay, or the flight got in on time. Il volo è arrivato in orario. It's another way to say to arrive, really. Just get. Yes, I don't know. I am aware that sometimes I'm really enthusiastic about the verb to get, but for a lot of my students, it's really terrible because it's really hard to understand when to use it or whatever. But yes, there is no simple way, an easy way to learn the verb to get, other than being exposed to the language. So yes, to listen and watch a lot of films and movies, or reading. I really love reading. It really helped me out a lot with my language skills in general, not only English. Yes. So let's wrap up today's session, okay? Because those are the 11 expressions I wanted you to learn, to take back home with you in your English rucksack, okay? So first we saw the difference between travel, trip, and journey, okay? Travel, verb or general, uncountable noun. Trip, the whole experience of traveling, not only the movement from A to B, but also everything you do in between. And journey, which is yes, the path, the traveling, the movement from A to B, and normally it involves a long distance or a long time. Then we saw the three verbs to express the idea of partire, which were to leave, simple irregular verb, leave, left, to set off for a trip, to set out for a journey, or if you have a goal in life, you set off to achieve or to meet the goal. To leave, to set off, to set out. Then we saw the romantic expression of saying goodbye to somebody at the train station or wherever, and it was to see somebody off. Okay, I drove John to the airport and I saw him off. Okay, be careful, because sometimes with phrasal verbs that I still haven't found the specific rules of when you do that, but sometimes phrasal verbs, you divide them, they don't come together. Like for example, the verb to pick up, andare a prendere, that most of my students already know. I picked my boyfriend up from the train station. Sono andata a prendere mio fidanzato, il mio amoroso alla stazione. Okay? The same is with to see off. I saw him off. Then we saw all the expressions connected to decollare, atterrare, e ritornare, which were to take off. Yes, and we saw that it is for flight, but also for people in a rush, they take off to go somewhere. Then atterrare, to land, terra, to land, atterrare. But another nice way to say it is to touch down. The flight touched down on time. And then last but not least, our verb to get in. It's not only to enter, which is for people, it also refers to flights and trains. The train got in at 11 o'clock. Il treno è arrivato alle 11. Super! Well done! We got to the end of today's class. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes, as I said, the first comment on top of this video is the blog post, so you can already have a check on the website and download the class in PDF. Yes, in 2 weeks, I still don't know, maybe in 2 weeks or next month we will have another class. If you have any doubts or whatever, or suggestions, feel free to write them. Yes, and also if you have questions regarding this class, of course, just write them, post them in your comments, and I will be more than happy to answer. Good. Well, thank you again for watching, and I wish you a lovely Saturday or a lovely rest of the day whenever you're watching this video, and yes, see you soon. Bye bye.